Hi, welcome to Forest Trek. I'm Data and I'm being forced to watch Star Trek.
And I'm Mars, and I'm being forced to make a podcast.
And this episode is called Justice. It's episode 8? Episode 7? Depends on how you're viewing it.
Yeah, to us it's episode 7 because we're smart.
Because we're smart and cool and we have Paramount Plus.
Yeah, Paramount Plus is the only reason that we have it labeled this way, but also it makes perfect sense. Anyway, let's go on. Let's continue.
Yeah. So, spoilers. I kind of like this episode. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
Just like on what they were trying to say level.
like the message of the story.
Yeah, it actually felt like they kind of had one. I kind of feel like they didn't know how to answer it, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually have something to say too now.
Let's get into it. No funny business. Not like the last episode.
I will say, I want to point out, I feel like we've been eating pretty unhealthily, so I got us a little vegetable plate for this episode.
Ooh, thank you. I would fuck this whole thing up. I love me a good veggie platter.
Well, yeah, don't let it go. Don't let it get warm. Oh my god, holy crap. You ate all the celery.
Holy crap.
Holy crap, all the celery is gone.
All that celery.
So describe the
Alright.
episode.
So, starts out, Picard's like, everybody sure is tired around here. And like, everyone's depressed and shit. So they go to a sex planet full of sexy people. And like a group of people get beamed down to go like have a nice day and have a relaxing time or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And amongst that group, I'm probably not going to get it all right, but I'll try my best. I'm pretty sure it's Riker, Worf, Deanna, Yar. I don't think Data is there because that would have been really funny.
I would have
And
loved
then,
if Data was there.
And then Wesley. I think that's the whole crew that goes down there. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
And,
I think that's everyone.
And Wesley just kind of gets to tag along for funsies, I guess. I don't know why they send him.
Yeah, they're like, hey, this planet that's known for being horny, let's send Wesley.
Big horny planet where people are like fucking constantly, which they don't like waste any time with it. The second you see this planet, everyone is like half naked, making out on grass, like feeling each other up and grinding and shit. Which the media question I had was like, why is Wesley here?
Yeah.
Like what do the kids do of this world, you know? Like do they just sit around and wait till they're 18 to start joining the like orgies or something?
Yeah, well, because like they have to address it almost immediately. They have to be like, oh, is this kid young? Okay, we have other kids. He can go to the town hall.
Go to the town hall and hang with them. So that is essentially what happens. They go there and they talk to the people, and the people are like, oh yeah, we'll take care of you and stuff. And then they send Wesley to go hang with the kids. And meanwhile, while that's happening, the people on the Enterprise are seeing like a giant kind of transparent, kind of there, not their ship that's like floating outside of the planet's hemisphere. And they get like a message from it, like a voice being like, you're not here to fuck with them, are you? You fucked with those other planets in the solar system. And Picard's like, no, people just want to live there and shit. And then they're like, okay, well, don't take any of our shit or mess with anything. And Picard's like, promise, bet, we're good. And then the people continue being horny. We get a lot of great scenes with everyone
getting to be a little horny.
Getting to be horny and flirty and whatnot. And eventually Wesley is just hanging out with some kids, which we'll get into that because I think that scene is so funny. And he's like, oh, you guys want to play like baseball? That's something we do on my planet. And like, yeah, sure, whatever, that's cool. And then they play baseball. They hit Well, I should explain. At this point, while he's hitting the baseball into a glass thing that has like these very important plants in it, the team that got sent there are like talking to the locals and whatnot, and find out that they have like a section. They have a section where if you break any laws, you will immediately be killed, no matter how small the law is. That their reasoning is like, oh, this is what keeps order in
Yeah.
our society.
It's totally random each day, and they never know where it is.
Yeah, and they're like, oh shit, Wesley, and like they can already feel something bad is going to happen. And meanwhile, Wesley hits a fucking ball into a thing and steps on some plants. And again, no matter how small it is, you will be killed. So 2 police officers like show up immediately.
Yeah, and
like,
also in sexy outfits.
Also in sexy outfits. And they're just like, stick your arm out so we can euthanize you.
Yeah, they have like the little needle pouch. They're wearing pretty much nothing but a needle pouch.
Yeah. And the rest of the team comes to Wesley's aid. And they're like, wait a minute, he didn't know, like this isn't fair. And like they have this huge debate where they go to the town hall, and then the other team that's up on the Enterprise, they basically start getting fucked with by the planet thing because the ship,
the weird ghost ship,
because like you're fucking with our stuff. And then Picard goes down there with the rest of the team and talk to the leaders. And Wesley's like being held in a cell till they can figure out what to do. And they basically make the agreement of like, let me think on it, and then we'll come back for him. Need time to think. Again, we'll get more of the details of this later. So he goes back. The ship's getting like majorly fucked with. That they take Data for a while. They've been taking Data for a while. Data comes back and is like, these guys are pretty much gods here. And there's like, they're kind of like an all omniscient being or whatever.
The weird ghost ship sends out like a little orb, and it like hooks to Data's forehead, and then they have an information exchange.
Yeah. And so they do all that. Eventually Picard just goes back down there after like talking with Wesley's mom, Beverly, being like, I won't let the boy die. And he goes down there. He just keeps it straight with them. He's like, I'm sorry guys, we can't let this kid die. And then just takes him and leaves. And then basically tells the gods like, fuck off, you would do the same, right? Like, we're not that bad. And the gods, I guess, are like, the gods meaning like the weird translucent ghost spaceship, is pretty much like, okay, fair enough, whatever, we don't care that much, just leave.
Yeah, get out of here.
And then they leave, and then the episode's over.
Yeah, it's pretty much the whole thing. Yeah, and yeah, they just straight up are like, we can't break the Prime Directive, and then they do.
Oh yeah, and maybe we should explain that for the people who.
Oh yeah.
Again, there are people watching this who don't know Star Trek. The Prime Directive. Do you want me to explain it, or
I know. Well, here's the thing. I'm curious to see what you think the Prime Directive is, or what you remember.
I mean, I kind of know what the Prime Directive is. I know what it pretty much is. I don't know like the exact details, which you'll probably be like, actually about.
I could be.
You're probably like, well, actually, it's written down as.
Fine, just say it. Go.
Pretty much what I get from it is like they're just there to observe and learn. They're not there to like mess with anything or help the species like grow past what they are. They want to let everything like go naturally.
No, yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. Well, I had to preempt myself because I never know with you nerds. You guys are like, well, actually, the text says in document 48 on episode 2969 420. So I have to put up my shields.
But then how will you be able to beam out? You know? How will you be able to beam out your emotions when your shields are up?
Anyways, this episode's pretty much about the Prime Directive. And,
yeah, it's the first one of the series.
The place. Yeah, right.
It's well, technically it's not the first one of the series, but it's pretty much the first one where they really try to tackle it. You know, it's just getting into it too. Let's just jump right into the whole conversation about this. It's interesting that you said that you liked the story of this episode and like the message they were trying to share, because I actually did a little bit of trivia reading, and I learned that like the dude who wrote this episode, they like rewrote this one a bunch, and he was so mad that they rewrote it the way they did that he didn't even put his name on the episode. He used like a pseudonym or whatever,
Wow.
because the original episode was about like it was the same idea where they come down to like a planet to come and hang out, but there's like a punishment zone where they use to quell anarchists, and then there's like a rebel group that like tries to get Picard's help, but then the police are like gonna like this one ensign like saves two children from the police or something, and then he gets murdered, and like all this shit happens, and then eventually like the Picard refuses to help the rebel group, and they like take over the planet and install a similar regime, and Picard's just like, well, that sucks, but you gotta let people choose, you know? And that's like the whole point of this. So it's like crazy they made it a sex like planet episode.
Interesting. Yeah, I would have been interested to see what that version.
Sounds hardcore.
Yeah, it sounds pretty crazy. Well, the reason I particularly like the story thing is that it was kind of what I was hoping Star Trek would be about, or at least more about, is like the like the philosophy of the Federation and how that quells with the trek that they're doing and between the members, because Picard's like really conflicted about helping like Wesley because he took an oath to follow the Prime Directive. At the same time, though, that is like someone he knows pretty well and made like a pretty honest mistake. I kind of like that they made the premise so cut and dry, like, oh yeah, this is a plan where if you fuck up once, you die immediately. You get euthanized.
And like how like, extreme that is.
Yeah, but they also have like a reason for it, and I also love their reasoning of like the people just being like, well, it's easy, just don't break that law.
Yeah,
it's just so like just a common thing of them being like, yeah, it sucks, but you know, just don't break the law and we're good.
Yeah, and they take it really personally too. When everyone's like, well, the boy is gonna die, we don't want that to happen. They're like, well, what the fuck do you mean? This is how it always works. That doesn't make any sense. Of course the boy has to die.
Yeah, they are like pretty offended when Picard is like yeah, we used to have a similar thing, but then we like kind of grew past that. And they're like, oh yeah, you think we're just some dumb fucking planet, huh?
Yeah, they turn it on him.
Which I thought that scene was hilarious, but also like pretty fun in the conversation of what the episode's about.
Yeah, it really gave them a leg to stand on, I think. I thought it was a funny little like, well, excuse you, asshole.
Because isn't it? I think that's so like realistic. Of it. Imagine if this advanced race of like aliens came onto your planet and started like telling you how to do your shit. Like you guys are basically acting like you guys are so below us or whatever. I would be pretty pissed off too. So I could kind of understand where they're coming from on that.
You know, actually, this is a good way to transition into the notes part of this. Because I actually looked up something. I was curious about like I couldn't remember exactly like if the Edo. By the way, the name of the people on the planet are the Edo.
Not that it matters. They look just like humans.
Yeah, they look like, well, specifically blonde hair, blue-eyed humans.
Yeah,
every single one of
white
them.
people, naked, skinny.
Yeah,
blonde hair.
Very fit.
It's like a California in the 80s.
Yeah,
exactly. On TV.
It's probably just everyone that showed up for casting that day.
It's a world made of Baywatch characters.
Yeah, when someone on Baywatch drops dead, they just pull one of these guys out of storage. But so here's what's up. I couldn't remember exactly how this episode starts, right? And I was like, do the Edo like know about other planets? Because they seem pretty simple. And I looked it up the little wiki part, and basically what happens is the Picard and them set up a colony in this system, and they just come across this planet, and they're like, oh, it's a really beautiful planet, and there's like they seem like a peaceful species down there. We're gonna make first contact with them.
Wow, this is first contact?
Yeah, this is first. What a fucking weird, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have first contact with a species, and we're gonna let our crew just loose on their planet.
Like some kid.
Yeah, just take some kid with you. So either
So the Edo have never talked to aliens before?
They probably have. I'm guessing.
They seem pretty casual with it.
Yeah, like I'm guessing they understand there are other species out there.
Yeah, they're pretty cool with it. Like people beam down, they're like, oh hey, what's that? I feel like they have to be somewhat. Either they're just so chill that like meeting aliens was just more like a yeah, it'll probably happen someday, more than like a oh shit, there's fucking aliens here.
You know,
And it's either that or it's happened like all the time. It's just not been recorded.
yeah, yeah. It's just like, but that's the thing. Is like it. It's like weird. It's like they know about space. Like there's a point in the episode where Picard brings one of the Edo up into the ship with him to show her the fucking giant spaceship thing, and she's immediately like, "Oh my god, we're in space! Is that my planet from space? Oh my god, that's my god!" And then she like does like a little like kneel for the god. And I was like, this all seems like you're breaking the Prime Directive right now.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, kind of was already with taking Wesley.
Yeah, super weird decision. But I guess the planet was cool.
I mean, they seemed calm enough to have aliens come down. Maybe Picard thought, she'll be cool with seeing space and shit.
Yeah, you know, if the boy he's on a ship all day, take him down.
That pissed me off just a little bit, though. If you were a planet and like a species that gets visited by the Federation, but you guys yourself aren't advanced enough to like go to space, and so they drop down and they're like, hey, we just came to check you out and stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, oh cool, you're gonna like help us like, you know, like advance our technology so we can also go to space, right? No.
No, sorry. We have a rule about that.
A pretty big rule too.
Pretty
like,
big.
oh well, they're like, well, do you guys know if we're like close to getting where you are? We can't say that.
Yeah, you're lesser evolved.
Let's just say, not in your lifetime, buddy.
Oh, invent a hover car and then talk to me.
And then start talking. I see you guys here still fight. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
do you guys have a vaccine that can save us from space madness?
Do you guys get headaches? Because if so, that means you guys are way behind.
Oh god, yeah, that's something to talk about in the next episode.
Yeah, we touch on that. Again, I've probably at this point we usually watch like 2 episodes and then talk about the previous episode. So I've seen the next episode. But yeah, let's bring it back to to Justice. That's the name of the episode.
And you know, I think this is a good opportunity too to reveal our we went out and we got DEYD'S pickup truck and we went out and we drove around town.
Yeah, my pickup truck.
Yeah, we got in your pickup truck and we drove around town and we actually found this on the side of the road. We found an old AV cart so we can show you guys stuff. It's
so ironic that you pick me to be the driver, even though you're the one who drives RL and I don't drive.
Well, that's why that's why I had to grab the AV stuff, so I needed you to drive.
I see. Yeah, not me, the person who does stuff with CRTs, but you.
Yeah, me.
Who doesn't drive?
Why can't we be characters? Why can't this be a world where it's different? Anyway, let me wheel that thing in.
I just don't want people to think that I'm a pickup truck driver.
I ain't no Ford driver.
I ain't no Ford driver.
All right.
I handle CRTs. Thank you very much.
Well, then can you bring the thing in?
Yeah, hold on. This audio listeners, I'm currently pulling up a TV onto the screen. Look up. This is now the time to look up.
Please, eyes on screen. Eyes on screen.
Eyes on screen. We need that Spy Kids 3D thing.
Oh my god, I could do that. That would be very funny.
That'd be hilarious. But also funny if somebody like just has no way of seeing the screen. They're only doing audio of this.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry if you're one of those.
One of those people.
I'm just gonna
what do you want to show on? Just put it on the screen. We'll talk about it. Let's not talk about the image, so the audio listeners aren't being torn apart.
I'm just gonna say what's on the screen. The Edo and their nips out. So just imagine 2 sexy people and one of them has their nips out.
Yeah, like blonde hair, 2 skinny white people, and then the dude has his nips out, and the lady is pretty much still covered.
Yeah, Pretty much.
Outfits are all pretty promiscuous.
Yeah, everyone's wearing linen. You at some points in this episode, you can see people's like full camel toes. It's great. It is wild.
Camel toes and like cheeks. At one point, maybe this is the time to talk about it now. I feel like we're going in order of the notes. They go through a room, or there's like a shot through a room where someone's just getting oiled up, and I swear to God, this looks like a porno at this point. Like,
It's like two women too, like oiling this beefcake up with no hair on his body,
and you can see his cheeks. Like it does not leave much for imagination.
Yeah, Star Trek, you shouldn't have.
Star Trek, behave.
Yeah, it's a planet of extremely fit people who are just sexy all the time. Like
they literally run everywhere.
Yeah,
they don't walk. They run to every location.
I have a picture of that too. Yeah, they literally run everywhere. Oh, and there's at one point where they're like, "Oh, do you guys not run?" And Wesley like goes like, "No, we do," and he like runs. Right, everybody?
I love running, guys. Right? And they look so dorky in their like Federation outfits, like running. It's hilarious.
Oh,
yeah, all these like sexy, skimpy wearing people just running alongside these like military space people
wearing like dress shoes.
Exactly, these onesies.
And also, this is a fun little note too. I just kind of noticed this. All of the Edo people, they're wearing these really revealing outfits, right? And a lot of the men have pretty much no coverage on the top of their body. It's like just like a thin strap that goes around their neck. So all of them have horrible sunburns. Like every one of those actors has like their skin is beet red.
They probably went to like to the beach in California during that time and just grabbed a bunch of people.
Well, because okay, so this is actually shot too at a famous location that's used in Star Trek and in a lot of other movies. This is oh God, what is it called? It's a water treatment plant in Los Angeles, and I had the name up and then I closed Google Chrome. But it's a pretty famous location. It's used as Starfleet Academy in some of the movies. But some people might know it as the Biodome.
The Bayou.
Yeah, the Biodome is that building. It's a ton of places, but it's a very famous Star Trek location.
Wow.
Oh, the Tillman Water Reclamation Plant.
Well, what's next on the notes? Is there anything? Well, I mean, I don't know what to say to that, you know.
No, I know. It's like that's kind of only for the trivia heads out there, but that's
I was gonna say, I bet you all the Star Trek fans are jumping and clapping their asses right now. Excitement.
One of the notable lines: Worf hugs a girl.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I got that picture up here. For some reason, I didn't do that, but
it'll be the thumbnail of this video.
Yeah, Worf hugs a girl, and he goes, "Nice planet."
Nice planet. Okay, yeah, let's talk about Worf later on. Like, they're all like Deanna's talking to people. Yara's like chatting up some people. I don't know if she goes and has sex. I forget.
Yeah, well, she's like kind of mad that Riker's horny, but then she also gets horny later.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like Riker is like he's loving it there. He's having a grand old time.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
Continue.
I was just gonna say, I think at some point Deanna also goes like, "They're very free and open."
Like, oh yeah, their minds are open, very open, which is so funny to me because it makes it sound like they have slutty minds.
She's just like, they're just like
four legs.
She just steps into one of their minds: balls, wiener, balls, butthole, wiener,
pussy,
boobs.
There's a great scene where Riker's like chilling with Worf, and Riker's like, "Oh, like why don't you go and do anything? Like, what, you don't want to have sex or anything?" And Worf's like, "These women could not handle me. They're much too fragile." And like Riker's like, coming from anyone else, that would sound like a brag, but coming from you, it's probably true.
Yeah, and then Worf goes, bragging.
Bragging. Yeah, Worf is like, he canonically fucks hard.
Oh yeah, it's funny too because the Edo
Klingon wrecks beds.
Yeah, that scene in Twilight, that's Worf.
I don't know that scene.
There's a scene in Twilight where they have sex so hard it breaks the bed. Just destroys it.
There's a similar scene in in the porn me and your mom made.
Fuck you. You had to get that one on recording, asshole.
Yeah, I'd get one of them, and you know.
Get an immortalized one. Dick.
What were you saying?
I think specifically the funny thing that Worf says too is like the Edo themselves are like the Edo aren't humans, I don't think. But Worf goes like, you know, for what I would call love making, I need a Klingon woman. And then he goes like, human women are much too fragile. And it's weird because like I know they look like humans. A little Star Trek inconsistency, I think.
Mars, I think you're just delusional.
No, I mean,
they look exactly like humans.
They look, but they're fucking not humans, and they have a god over them.
Yeah, but they're exactly like humans, though. So it's like it's kind of fair for Worf to just be like,
even Worf's getting confused.
I'm sorry, Mars. If you saw someone that looked exactly like you on another planet, would it not be hard to be like, oh yeah, that's a Bajorbanorp, not a human.
Star Trek has taught me not to be a bigot, so yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I don't even think those people would care being called humans.
I mean, if think about it, if you're a Betazoid and you can read minds and shit, and people call you humans, you'd be like, I'm not a human. I read minds. I'm a Betazoid.
I'm not a stupid fucking human.
I'm not a weak little human. Or like a Vulcan wearing a beanie, and they're like, I'm not a human.
I'm kind of fine with his terminology there.
Well, then let's move on to the next note. Let's see.
Consistency much. Sorry, continue.
Let's see. Yeah, the big ship sends out the blue ball, and again, it's another scene of like everyone just kind of like casually watching some crazy shit happen while they're at work. Like there's a scene where this like energy ball goes through the ship and up through a couple levels, and you see like people walking through the hallways. They like stop, watch it happen, and then just keep walking.
Yeah.
Like another day, another weird blue ball.
Another $1. Yeah, everyone's just sitting around watching it happen. Like, again, this would be a hell place to live on. I'm shocked that there are families here.
Yeah, I'd be so scared. There's schools. There's whole ass schools on the Enterprise. Imagine you're in class. You're in class and your thoughts become reality and shit.
It would be a horrible place to live. I don't get why they allow people on there.
But yeah, at one point, basically this little sphere thing makes contact with Data's forehead, and it's a very funny little picture of Data lying flat on his back with a little glowing orb sitting on his forehead. I mean, we've all been there.
Dude, mood.
Got my ball.
Got my ball on my head.
Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is
a seal.
He does kind of look like a seal,
especially in that picture. Look up at the screen if you aren't looking.
Yeah, Data looks like a seal in this picture. He's got a little ball balanced on his forehead.
But if you're an audio listener, it's just Data like knocked out with a little blue ball on his head.
This actually goes into the next part too in my notes that I actually really wanted to get into, which is let's talk about Wesley in this episode. There's
I'm cool with
a lot to unpack. Well, first off, he like immediately makes friends with these like kids his age who are all wearing like beach clothes essentially. And then
they're wearing pretty much the same as the adults, but just a little more covered up, like barely. Actually, I think the teen boys are kind of wearing less.
Yeah, they're wearing just like
longer shorts, but they're not wearing a top.
Yeah, it's like kind of weird. Well, let's see what else we got here. The big thing that I think is so funny is they're like talking about games and stuff, and I think one of them like talks about like a cartwheel or something, and Wesley's like, oh, I can do that, and it cuts to like a fucking stunt like man, like a grown-ass man who does a cartwheel, and then the cartwheel finishes, and then it's Wesley.
And the cartwheels aren't even that good or impressive.
No, it's a pretty mediocre cartwheel.
Have to get a stunt double to do cartwheels.
Yeah, it's a totally different person doing that cartwheel.
I do like they're talking about like, oh, what games should we play? And like, and then one of the girl goes something with balls, and Wesley looks so uncomfortable. He's like immediately like, huh, what balls? What are you talking about? He gets like so uncomfortable. It's like real. He's like, I don't know anything like that. Like, I don't know what games we can play. And she's like, no, like, like, do you have any games on your planet, like, baseball or something?
Oh.
And he's like, oh, yeah, I know something like that. Give me a stick.
Yeah, and that's another thing too about this episode is that Wesley is like such a realistic teen boy in this whole thing. Like he's like awkward and he like likes the girl and he's like kind of nervous around her and try not to be stupid. It's like the most realistic teenager I've ever seen in Star Trek.
Yeah, and he's also like trying to impress the dudes too by doing like cartwheels and shit because they're like doing backflips or whatever. They're doing some crazy shit if I remember right.
Yeah, this planet of himbos it has him beat in physical prowess, but maybe Wesley can show them a cartwheel.
Show them they've never seen poorly done cartwheels before.
We've only seen perfect cartwheels. What a transcendence of form.
Speaking of Wesley being like kind of a funny teenage boy, I'm going to cut ahead a little bit, but we can go back. I just want to stay on the subject of Wesley while we're here. When he hits the ball into the like glass thing and then fucking runs for it, like without even looking at where he's going, just pure ignorance, just chasing the ball as fast as he can. He jumps into this thing and it's a brutal crash. Like, like like, was he blind? How did he not know that? But that's not even the funny part to me. He crashes into it, hits the flyers. The kids are immediately distraught because they know he's about to be killed. Like, oh shit, oh no. They like go over there and they're all like sad and pissed off. Like, no, Wesley, what have you done?
New plants are not supposed to be disturbed.
Exactly. And Wesley, without a beat, goes, "It's okay, guys. I'm fine." He thought they were worried about him and that he was like damaged. And then he gets up and they're like, "Oh no, this is bad." And he's like, "I said I'm fine. Everything's okay."
Yeah, and the funniest part is too. It's like even if like Wesley was like aware of like I don't know like it just seems so weird that he's not like, oh, I'm sorry, I crushed your plants. Like that's not the first thing out of his mouth.
Exactly. You just must assume that. I assume on Earth now stuff like that, like crashing into a plane, is just easily fixable. So that's not even like a thought in his mind. He's like, oh, we'll just fix that or whatever. That's not a big thing. But yeah, it's kind of weird that he's not like, oh shit, I'm so sorry, guys. That's really messed up. I'll help like fix it. He's just immediately like, guys, there's no reason to worry. I'm okay. I'm not hurt.
Yeah, the funniest part too is like he's the whole like setup to the scene is like a ball is like flying and he's running downhill, building up momentum.
Is it down? It does not look
downhill. Yeah, he
like
runs
a flat surface.
Well, he runs downhill and then it gets flat and then he jumps into the fucking air
for a while.
Oh, okay.
There's no reason for him to be going that fast.
Yeah, he's booking it. But either way, and he just like a football player catching the game-winning ball, like jumps and like catches it in the crook of his arm and then just crushes those fucking plants immediately. Like
with like no care.
No care. Yeah, honestly, I would kind of wish like there was like a scene where Beverly could be like, "What the fuck were you doing?"
Yeah, like it would have been funny if they somehow could have gotten a recording of that and then just Beverly like chewing his ass out. Like, why the fuck did you jump? It's just baseball.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? Why did you? Are you blind? Do I have to test you for blindness?
No, but instead of that, you get a very touching like scene up with her where she's like really freaked out about her son.
Yeah, she's like begging Picard, like, please, like I want to go down there with you if you're going, because I want to save my son that's like messed up. He didn't know the law and they didn't tell him. So, which is another fucked up thing about this planet. That should be like the first words out of their mouth when people drop down on there. Is like, hey, hi, how's it going? By the way, you will get killed immediately if you're in a zone where there's laws.
Yeah, maybe they don't get a lot of visitors because that like happens. That would probably happen a lot if you just didn't tell a visitor that.
Well, the thing that I find interesting and why I kind of like that they didn't mention it until like way later is the thing I kind of like about is it's kind of realistic. Imagine if aliens came down here and we basically had to be like, we're just like, oh, hi, welcome. Is there anything we can do? And then they just like shoot someone in the head for fun. And then we had to be like, what the fuck? That's a law. We don't kill people. And like, what? You don't kill people? What are you talking about?
Why?
And then like, and if we were like, oh, you're in trouble now, and it's like, that's fucked up. We only killed someone. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, just bring them back to life. Just bring their clone out. Where's their clone?
Their clone. Where is it? So I kind of like how realistic that is, because we wouldn't sit there and be like, hi, welcome to Earth. So these are our laws. If you ruin any of them, we will put you in jail or dissect you.
Well, it's like, oh shit, you know what I just remembered too? Wesley, after saying like, no guys, it's okay, I'm fine. The like 2 murder cops show up, right? And they're gonna put him to death. And
You're gonna put him down.
Yeah, they're gonna put him down. Yeah, and the fucking they ask him, they go, did you crush these plants? And Wesley looks at them and goes, yes, I did. And all the kids go like, what the fuck? Why didn't you lie? Why didn't you lie to them? And Wesley goes, I'm with Starfleet. We don't lie.
Well, actually, the cops go, so you admit to it. And then he says that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You freely admit to it.
I'm with Starfleet. We
like
don't
the balls on this kid. Like he says it so proudly. It's kind of cute. He's like I'm with Starfleet and we're not liars.
Yeah.
Basically like being like, we're so cool, we don't lie.
And then also like almost immediately Riker shows up and is like, whoa, don't kill the kid. Don't do that. And they're just like or they're like, we're gonna punish the boy, and they pull the needle out, and he's like, "What's that?" It's like, "Well, the punishment is death, of course. Please don't make it difficult."
No, they don't say anything. The cops don't.
Well, because Riker's like, "What the fuck is that?"
No, Riker goes, "They're going to like kill you," and then Riker freaks out, and he's like, "Not Riker, sorry." Wesley freaks out, and he's like, "What? They're going to kill me?" And they're like, "You freaked him out. Now he was going to die like happy."
Oh yeah, that's right.
Go tell them. Because they were like specifically trying not to tell him that he was about to die, so that they could like make it easier for him.
How crazy would that be if just like if that did happen and that was the whole point of this episode? Like the whole episode is just Wesley died, and now we have to deal with it.
It would be. I get why they don't do it, because Star Trek, like, they want to keep it a little lighthearted.
Yeah.
But how fucking terrible, how like impactful would that be? Of like, shit, we really got to stop fucking around with planets we don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I think that would have been a pretty crazy ending. Is if just Wesley's like dead forever, and they just used the last couple episodes to set him up as a character.
That would be pretty crazy. Like, I could see why people wouldn't like that. Maybe a movie or something where you get to know a character well and it ends like that or something. I don't know.
It would also be kind of funny, especially after the Traveler's like, this boy is special. He's different.
Yeah.
He's like Mozart.
That's like an episode or two before this one, which makes it extra funny, because it's like we as the viewers have seen that episode. We're like, okay, yeah, no, he's not going to die. At the same time, like, how hilarious would that be if he did?
Well, it's like also on top of that, it's like, this boy is a genius, and then he immediately is like, don't worry, guys, I didn't step on. I'm okay. I just crushed some flowers.
Here, I'll grab it. Ah!
He's like ripping like plants out of the dirt. Like, look.
Don't worry, guys, I'm okay. Yeah, I still go by the theory that the Traveler was just trying to get people off Wesley's back.
He's the cool uncle.
Yeah, for real. How cool, how fucking like awesome would that be to be like, yeah, that kid's a genius. Just, you should give him everything he wants. But don't ever tell him I said that.
Yeah. And then Picard's immediately like, we've been over this, but it's very funny, just like the treatment of Wesley in the show. They're just like, they hate him, but they like him.
It's funny. I like Wesley so far. He's like, I kind of love the weird balance of him being so incredibly like stupid, because he's a dumb kid, like going through fucking space travel. He's like, it's pretty realistic for a kid to do all these dumb shit in space. At the same time, he's like a genius too, so he's like helping everyone out when they get stuck on shit.
Yeah, he's like a genuine asset to the ship.
It's hilarious. It's like a kid who works at construction site, and he's like getting getting thrown off bridges every 3 seconds because of a dumb dare. But at the same time, he's like, we should really be working with plywood. It would do much better here.
Yeah, he's like, if you put the cement this way, it'll be 10% stronger. Here's my model that proves that. He's just like, but then also he's like, I don't know, nervous around a girl.
Guys, I got my dick stuck in the wood.
Not again.
That's essentially Wesley's character, and that's why I'm loving him so far.
Also, we should talk about for like a little bit. Card does have a little moment where he looks out a window and he sees the ghost ship, and he does like a double take and looks back at his crew like, "You guys seeing this shit?
You guys seeing this?
Seeing this shit?"
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Yeah, he loves to get everyone's feedback. Well, mostly just Riker, but he loves to hear what everyone has to say.
Yeah, it really feels like he's just like, what does everyone think? And then the second everyone's done giving their opinion, okay, and what did you say again, Riker?
What was your line?
I care about the most.
One more time, Ranky.
Oh, another episode. So I've been playing a game recently, and I've just been telling Mars about this. I've been playing a game of what has Deanna done this episode? Could we cut out Deanna, and would the show be the same?
Yeah.
And I'd like to confirm to you guys, this would be a completely normal episode without Deanna. I'm sure she's going to come in clutch soon, but I am slowly realizing how little they have to do with her. She's pretty much just there to say, like, people are happy.
Yeah, you know what? That's what it is.
Person is angry.
It's like there is no with Deanna, there is no like she's there to like fill in like where a book would tell you what a character is thinking.
Yeah, in case you can't read their emotion.
Yeah, she's like, he's really pissed off.
Yeah, as the guy is being pissed off on the screen. It'd be like one thing if a character looked a certain way, like looked really happy, and then if she like secretly like told the other people like he was really fucking mad. There's something up with them. But it's never that. It's always like the person is really fucking mad, and she's like, he's mad.
He's really angry, and the guy's like spit yelling, like
face is red, foaming out of the mouth, and it's like, oh my god, thank you, Deanna. What would we ever do without you?
Or my favorite one from her though is his mind is closed. I cannot read him.
Yeah, that's another thing. You mentioned that, and I realized, wait a minute, they can just close their minds to her.
Which, like, what use is she?
Exactly. What the fuck is she there for? If somebody didn't want her to read their emotions, they could just be like, oh, I don't want you to just put a password on their mind.
Yeah, I'm going to set my password, and now you can't get in.
And now Deanna is just a pile of rocks that episode. Let's continue on the notes. I got my Deanna rant out for the episode.
Let's see. The moment I want to talk about in a little more detail is Picard brings one of the Edo up on the ship, and she's totally fine with being on a spaceship. Like she's definitely like blown away that she's in space, but she's like happy to meet everyone, and like she's talking and sharing all kinds of information about her people and culture. And then Picard goes like, yes, follow me this way, and we'll carry this conversation through the hallway. And they walk down a hallway, and then he brings her into a room and just jump scares her with her god. Like, imagine if you just walked through a door and someone was having a conversation with you, and then God was standing in front of you, like on the other side of the door. You'd just be like, like she just immediately gets like Five Nights at Freddy's jump scared, and she drops to her knees. And I was just thinking about like how fucked up that is on his end. Like, why was that a good idea?
I think, well, I mean, Picard was kind of doing it to like one, get confirmation that that is their god, and two, like, I guess to try and like throw some sense into them, or like at least realization of the world is like more crazy than you think. I guess. I mean, if I had to like assume why he did it,
it makes sense.
He's crazy. We've already established this. Picard is just a fucking insane man. But I think specifically for that reason, I think he was just trying to find out more info. Like are these guys real? Like, or will they actually like fuck us up if we like try and take the kid back? Like, how much of this is real? Is that the guy? I think that's why he's doing it, which I kind of get. I kind of like that Picard was just throwing spaghetti at the wall because he didn't know what to do in this situation.
Well,
It's a very
yeah.
weird situation.
I love too that he's like, his reaction is kind of like, "Oh, that was really fucked up. I wonder why she reacted like that." And then Deanna immediately goes, "Well, sharing an orbit with God is no small experience."
Yeah, your god is just like in your orbit. Which I wonder if the gods at all stop them from leaving, you know?
Yeah, I mean that would definitely keep me from. If I knew God was just right above my city in particular, too. Also, like I would be like, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking, I'm not going up there. That's scary.
Going out there. Like I wonder if the reason why everything is like chill and just about love and stuff is to keep them on the planet and to not get off. Because the gods like don't want them to leave.
Yeah, that's like the big thing is like the God does talk to them and he's like, these are my children. I don't like want them to be like, I don't want them to be influenced by you. Like that's the whole thing. That's the whole reason the God is like upset at all. Is that he's
Yeah.
like fucking with the kids.
Which is so funny to me because like Picard has a conversation with the god being like, "Oh, we have the prime directive. We're not going to mess with anything." And then meanwhile, Wesley is immediately fucking with things.
Yeah.
And then immediately the whole team like fucks up the prime directive. It's
Well, it's like,
wait, actually though,
isn't teaching another culture like baseball affecting the prime? Like, isn't that a prime directive? Like, you shouldn't teach them about your culture because it's like it'll influence theirs forever.
I guess so.
Like, what if
Maybe
they
they're
become like a
trying to do
baseball
that.
planet? Next time they come back, they're all in baseball uniforms.
I guess it's more of like minor things that are kind of allowed, I would assume.
I think at one point in the original series, Kirk just straight up like reads the Declaration of Independence to like some people from one of those planets. But
Hmm.
maybe they've refined it over the years.
I would imagine that it's a little more loose in the sense of if this is something they can like make at the current moment, then it's kind of fine. But like giving them advanced technology and advanced knowledge that they're not supposed to have is a bit different.
Hmm.
Like just teaching baseball, I don't think would change the course of what are they called, Edos?
Yeah, the
Edo
Edo.
history too much. But at the same time, it could also just be chalked up to Wesley's. I'm sorry, having a character named Wesley and another character named Wesker is so fucking confusing and hard.
Yeah, we've been on a Resident Evil kick outside of this.
Wait, did I say Wesker?
Yeah, you said Wesker. Were you gonna say Worf?
No, Riker. I don't know why I keep getting Wesker and Riker confused.
Fuck,
I
that
get
would be,
Wesker, Riker, and Wesley confused, and it's so hard to keep them straight in my mind.
that would be so funny to like see Wesker in like a full Starfleet uniform.
He would fit in pretty well.
He would. He's very tall and
What I
skinny.
was saying with that was Wesley. I kind of like the idea that he knows about the Prime Directive, but he just kind of forgot about it in that moment.
Well, to Wesley, he's like, "Well, I'm not enlisted."
That, and also like just in the moment. It's so
Sorry, throw my phone.
Jeez.
Sorry, go on.
In the moment, fucking Wesley is just like, this is awkward. I don't have any games I can like show them. Baseball, yeah, that works.
He's like thinking like, okay, you need a stick and a ball. I think I can make that work.
Yeah, I like the idea that he just kind of fucked up the Prime Directive without thinking, just because he was in such an awkward position.
Well, see, there was a pretty girl officer.
Officer, there's a cute girl who's asked me like about balls and stuff, and I got confused, so I just mentioned baseball.
I actually want to pivot to talk a little bit about Data this episode.
Okay.
There is some personal growth with Data that I think is kind of cute. I don't forget specifically what Data is talking about, but basically Picard asks for some information, and Data just starts like giving him tons of information, like more than Picard needs. And Picard he's so pissed off about Wesley about to die, he just snaps at Data like for like the 5th time and just goes like, "Just don't babble." And
Babble.
Data's like, I don't fucking babble.
I don't babble.
And then I think at one point, and then like a couple scenes later, Data is then immediately like oversharing to Crusher about motherhood and what motherhood is, despite her being a mom. And he stops himself and goes like, "Oh, I do babble."
I do babble. Yeah, that's really cute.
Yeah, and then everyone's kind of like, "Oh, sorry, we were mean to you, but thank you for realizing it."
Sorry, Data. Yeah, I do love that they're like teaching him all this shit, but at the same time, like forget that he's an android.
Yeah, they have to remember like, "Oh, that's fucking right. He doesn't know what babbling is. We got to be nice to this guy."
I love Data.
Yeah, that's
just there to like learn and have fun.
He like honestly, there's always in Star Trek. There's always this character that is the outsider looking in to humanity, and I think Data is like the best example of that. He's just so like every scene with him, he feels like not only such a real person, but just so like I don't know, like he's like different from everyone else. Like everyone else is like constantly, being perfect at their jobs and stuff, and like understanding social interactions perfectly. But Data's just kind of like, why the fuck would someone say that to you? And he just asks it cold all the time. I love it. What is
What's going on?
what is
What's
a detective?
What's a detective? What's that? Yeah, I think it's really cute that he's not like arrogant about being an android and being like, oh, I can just download all this stuff, like you're inferior humans or whatever. Like that would have been such a like a kind of a boring way of doing it. I love that he's very excited to learn.
It's like it's the only thing he wants.
Exactly. He's just having a great time like learning shit like, oh, a Chinese finger drive. How do I get my fingers out of this? This is fun. Who's Sherlock Holmes? I'll read all Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes is so cool. I love Sherlock Holmes. I'm gonna dress like Sherlock Holmes.
I read about motherhood. That's pretty cool. I can relate to her. And then he just starts info dumping and then realizing, oh shit, yeah, maybe this is people don't want to hear a Wikipedia article while they're worried about their child.
Yeah, Data continues to be the best character every episode.
What's is there any other main notes? Because I would like to talk about, I guess, like the philosophy of the episode.
Sure.
Or like actual like what they're trying to say and how they say it.
The last notes that I have are that I wrote this down because they were really insisting to kill Wesley. They were basically begging, like, please just let us murder the boy. Like, don't fuck up our laws. Just let us murder this child.
Oh my god, yeah. I guess we should talk about the scene where they're talking with the people at like the town hall or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the final. They're like going to get Wesley and leave.
Yeah, they're pretty much begging it because they don't want it's like supposed to be an example. It's supposed to happen every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't happen, then it can teach people like that they're outliers and stuff, and they're really afraid about going back to how it used to be.
Yeah.
With a lot more like crime and violence.
And also like their leaders are very like insistent that like, yeah, you guys could easily level this place with your future technology. Like they say that a few times, like what's stopping you from just destroying us from orbit and getting your kid back? And there's and over and over everyone has to be like, Jesus, no, we're not gonna do that to you. And like the Edo are constantly like, why aren't you gonna kill us?
But I love that though, because it's like the Edo to them, these are the super advanced like people coming down and basically fucking with your laws.
Mm-hmm.
And them being like, just give us the kid back, just ignore the law. And then they're like, no, we're going to do it our way, just fucking kill us if you're going to.
Yeah, and
then be like, what? We're above killing.
We're better than you. And then it comes around too, where they literally like Wesley just walks away from the Edo to their group, and that really is like a sort of like a power move on the behalf of the Enterprise. Is just being like, I'm just gonna walk, and then everyone just beaming out, and then the god of the planet is like, hey, you just broke my law. I'm gonna keep you guys here, and then immediately they're just like they say like 3 sentences of just being like, well, sometimes this is okay. And the god just goes like, yeah, you're right. And lets them go. And then they leave. And the episode fucking cuts to credits immediately after they leave.
Well, the thing I like about that interaction, too, is I always kind of viewed the whole thing with Picard and the gods as kind of like the gods less being like moved by the words and more of if they stay here, it's just going to cause more trouble. It'd just be easier to let them walk and just deal with the repercussions. Because if they stay here, Federation's going to get involved, and they could like fuck us up and shit.
It's more pragmatic.
Yeah, it's just easier this way to let it go and just double down on it next time someone else comes in or something. Which I liked. I thought I liked the like back and forth of not making the gods feel like too much of an asshole. Like they're pretty realistic in a way of they have personal gain and they don't want people to fuck with them.
Yeah.
But at the same time that they're like smart enough to be like, yeah, let's just let them leave. It's easier.
Well, it's interesting too because Picard they basically figure out that the gods are like these multi-dimensional beings that can be in multiple places at once. So they're like, it's kind of implied they're gods of multiple planets.
In the system,
in the system specifically, yeah. Like, and I think because the whole premise of the episode is that Picard set up a colony in that system, and the god even asks them, they're like, you left your people on the planet, why? And Picard's like, well, sometimes humans just like to seek the challenge of doing that. And the planet's like, but you guys aren't just gonna like watch over them and be a god? And Picard's like,
really confused by that. No.
Weird.
Odd. Peculiar.
Strange. Anyway, you can leave.
Anyways, get the fuck out of here. We're tired of you.
That's, honestly though, and it's interesting too because that actually keeps them technically from breaking the Prime Directive, because they weren't affecting they technically, by leaving, were not affecting the cultural thing because the leader of that world, the god, said it was fine. So I guess
it was okay.
I guess technically it's not a violation of the Prime Directive.
They pass on it, not with the people, but with the god of the world, which is very funny to think about because the god does not talk to the people, at least not in a very clear way.
No, if anything, it just seems like he just kills them sometimes.
Yeah, just to like make a point. It's pretty interesting, especially how like Picard kind of deals with it at the end of, because like the whole time he's like running through everything that you possibly could do because he wants to respect the Prime Directive, but at the same time, like he wants Wesley alive, so he doesn't want to let him just fucking die. And I like how real his conflict is. Like shit, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, he's like in his bedroom, like sitting and thinking for like half the episode, and people are like constantly bothering him.
And you hear like both sides and stuff of Picard of like Beverly coming in and be like, "You're not thinking about letting him die, are you?" He's like, "Of course not." At the same time, though, we did fuck up.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Beverly doesn't even know right away because Picard is so like conflicted on whether or not he should tell her, like if he can figure it out before it's a problem. But
yeah, I really like how they handle the plot of this one. Although ending does feel kind of abrupt. Like I kind of enjoy the fact that even the writers don't have an answer of who's really right in this situation.
Yeah, it leaves like a taste in your mouth.
Yeah, it's more of like wouldn't that be fucked up if that happened?
Yeah.
Then like this is how it should be dealt with. Like they're not trying to like preach to anyone. They're just saying like, yeah, this would be fucking terrible to live through. Am I right, guys?
This would be a nightmare. I mean, you know what it is too? It's like Picard is like forced to face his own values of being like, I'm like, I love to talk about the Federation and like our rules and all that shit, but like when it really personally affects me, like I don't know, like it's interesting that he just breaks it, that he's human, and I kind of like that because Gene Roddenberry very much wants there to be like no interpersonal conflicts like between the crew, so it's really hard to get like a good story out of that. That was like a big problem with this first season. But I think this is like a really clever way to do it, where you just sort of make it about this, like, what do you believe in and how that affects you. And I thought that was kind of a neat angle of like creating conflict.
Shows at its best, at least for me, is when it's actually talking about the inner dilemma of the people versus the thing that they work for and versus the planets that they go to and how their morals go against the aliens and the exploration of that and like how devoted they are to the Federation.
Yeah, like, are you willing to let someone you love die because of your values?
Funny enough, I feel like this is kind of why I like the modern movies a lot, because they kind of delve on that a lot, at
Yeah,
least to me. So
I see.
a
I
little bit
really need to rewatch those.
maybe someday we'll talk about it on an episode. But I watch all the 3 modern Star Trek movies just for funsies,
I
and
haven't seen them
they're
since I
pretty
was a
good.
kid.
Have you seen the third one?
I have not seen the third one. I've only seen the first and second one, and the only one I really remember is the second one.
Really, you only remember the second one more?
Yeah, because it has Benedict Cumberbatch in it.
That's fair enough. I kind of forgot about that, honestly. I've seen the first 2, and when I rewatched it, I was like, oh shit, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch is Khan in this one.
Yeah, because like I had watched a little bit of TNG, but like I didn't really know what Star Trek was. And then I watched those movies, and I was like, oh, this is Star Trek, I guess.
Yeah, no, a lot less action in the actual shows.
There's a lot less whirring noises. It's more like a calm refrigerator hum for most of the action. Um,
Pretty much. I feel like we talked about this episode adequately enough, though.
yeah.
The
What
next
do you?
episode,
I don't go.
I was just gonna say the next episode also kind of delves in the same things I liked about this episode, so I'm pretty excited to talk about that one.
Yeah.
But let's get our thoughts on the episode. What would you what do you think about it, and what would you rate it, Mars?
You know, this is an episode that I never really forgot. This one stuck with me for a really long time, and for obvious reasons. But I never really had a chance to like analyze it critically, as I really enjoyed actually hearing your thoughts on that. And it made me kind of appreciate this episode a little more because it's kind of you kind of write it off as being like, oh, this is the planet with all the himbos. But you make some good points. I would have to say if I was going to rate this episode, probably like a like an 8 out of 10. I'm going to say an 8 out of 10. I'm going to break my own record of saying 7.
Okay, okay. It's funny that you say that.
I actually really like this
It's fun-
one.
It's funny that you say that the thing that was only really memorable about it for you was like the sex planet and not the story, because this is like the dilemma wise, or like the morality of this is what I thought Star Trek was going to be about. And the previous episode has been more of like a weird um sitcom of people fucking up and like doing weird shit, like just being generally dumb.
Yeah.
So it was kind of shocking that, I don't know, this one isn't regarded more as like the good one, at least to me. This has felt like the first episode where I was really like, okay, they're actually delving. There's actually something worth talking about with what's actually happening, what the writers are trying to say, versus the other ones that we've seen. Except maybe like the Q episode in the start, but that one was too long and boring.
I don't want to hype up DS9 too much, but I really think you'd like it for that reason. They go balls deep in that show.
I can't wait for us to finally get to it, and I hate it.
You watch the first episode and you're like, Mars, we can't release this episode. This was
This is
terrible.
atrocious. I like fall asleep like watching it.
That would kill me. That would kill me.
All that build up just for me to be like, this just really is not my jam.
I just don't
All
get
right,
it.
what would you rate it?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
you give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, my highest rating yet, and I'd stand by it.
And you know what? For my rating, I'm also going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
I thought there's a lot of comedy, a lot of comedy stuff to talk about, and then also a lot of good stuff in the plot.
It was a comfy episode. Everybody was in good, like all their characters made sense, and they all had little things to say.
Except Deanna.
Except Deanna. Even, well, she said
The open mind thing was funny, but
she said that cool line about being in orbit with God is no small experience.
it's true. But anyone else could have said that.
It's true. They softballed that one to her.
They gave her a good line out of pity.
Did Yar say anything this episode?
Not really. She just kind of like flirts with the sexy people.
That's right.
Nothing really memorable that she says, sadly, but she has a lot of other great episodes. So
Yeah, that's this episode.
yeah. Let's want to cue up that music.
Well, where are your phasers? Have you seen your phaser?
I'm actually looking at it right now, Mars. And guess what?
Yeah.
It's set to goodbye.
It's set to goodbye.
Yeah.
The outro music isn't working.
I'm sitting here waiting to hear it because I can also hear it and it just has not kicked in.
Hold on.
You know what? This is why I kind of love that we do the outro live because it adds such another layer to this.
Yeah. It's a whole other part to this.
Well, I'll talk about why I think the Star Trek movies are so good.
Yeah,
Chris Pine is so handsome.
Chris Pine
Even
is
that
so
Spock,
handsome.
He's a looker.
Why isn't
A
it
little
working?
too many flares though. Too many flares.
Too many.
Kind of. I wish they made less of a version with like less flares. Like I know it's a meme, but I kind of wish there was actually less of them. You know.
Did that hurt your eyes?
It doesn't hurt my eyes, but it obstructs a lot of shots where it's like, this is a cool shot. There doesn't need to be a flare here.
Yeah, why is the flare so fucking like bright? That was the critique I always saw, but I remember watching the con one and being like, you know what, you guys aren't wrong. I feel like I'm in an Apple showcase.
Like, it's easily, you can look past it, but there are some shots where I'm like, man, if they made a version without the flares, this would be pretty much perfect.
I don't know why the music's doing this. We're gonna do it in post. It's really not working. We're gonna do this in post.
All right, everybody. Well, let's set our phasers to goodbye for realsies. And music has been playing.
It's been playing. Goodbye.
And it stops right here.